About 2 weeks ago, I made a video about this guy, Thailand One, literally him just shitting on The Last of Us. And since then, for a week straight, my YouTube algorithm have been all about streamers talking shit about The Last of Us Part 2. And honestly, it baited me so bad, I had to make a video about it. Today, I'm gonna try to debunk the outrageous takes these streamers have about The Last of Us. Streamers like Angry Joe, Soda Popping, and more. So let's get into it.
If this was a TV show, it would be on the fucking CW. Every time a character's in danger, they
The
get
story is spread so thin.
they get miraculously
told out of
saved by
order.
something. Some of the
Like, bro, this is what The Last of Us is literally all about. Survivor. Ellie saves Joe. Joe saves Ellie. Bill saves Joe. So the characters saving each other also happens in part 1, not only in part 2. Abby got saved like twice and even more, but that's all what the game is literally all about. It's not as if the constant saving started from part 2. It was literally in part 1 in so many ways. This wasn't the first time. So danger doesn't just guarantee death in the world of Last of Us. They have friends to save them. Happened in part 1 and it also happened in part 2. This is nothing new from the story of Last of Us. I mean, if people didn't save each other, the story would have ended in part 1.
Soundtrack, great. Characters is where we have the problem. Pacing is where we have the problem. Story is where we have the problem.
I swear to you, Angry Joe, character wasn't the problem in part 2. Like, I mean, we have so many amazing characters in The Last of Us Part 2. Way better than you did in The Last of Us Part 1. We had Lev. Lev has an amazing story into him. I mean, the fact that he ran away from the Sarah fight and they were trying to kill him. Two, we had Yara. Yara is a beautiful character. We got an introduction to Tommy and his depth was even more groundbreaking. I think why people criticize the Last of Us character is mainly about Joe. The way Joe was allowed to fall for Abby trap. But yeah, there's still depth into why he fell for Abby trap that people skip. Joe was softened in Jackson. Joe wasn't the same man anymore. He doesn't have that same drive and survival instinct anymore. He learned to trust. So I think that's people fail to understand this, and that is why they criticize the Last of Us Part 2 character more, mainly because of Joe's mistake. People confuse, I don't like this happened in this part of the story, so it's just bad writing. But it's not always that way. There are some layers in the story, and also not liking a character doesn't mean the character is badly written. I think Abby was a amazing character in The Last of Us. I mean, there was nothing wrong with her character, but people hate her. People hate to play as Abby, because she killed off Joe. And it's literally what has to happen. Not even bad writing. It's just based. I mean, this man literally killed your father because for what? And she has to do revenge, and she killed off Joe. Joe had what was coming to him. It's just based, and I understand people might hate this, but doesn't mean the character is badly written.
So we keep going through the game as Ellie, and I like it. Everything's good. We're hunting her down, whatever. And then we play as the fridge, okay? Nothing for 12 hours had anything to do with Ellie or Joel or any of them. It was a bunch of I don't give a fuck about who's.
In fact, I think we should already know that The Last of Us isn't about Ellie or Joe. It's about the world. It's about the survivor. Honestly, it feels like Joe and Ellie isn't the main character at all. The main character is like the world. I hope I'm making sense right now. The Last of Us Part 2 just proves that there's no main character in this world. This world just all about death, survivor, and suffering. Nothing more. The Last of Us isn't just biased to one character alone. It isn't just favoring one character alone. It's like the world is taking something out of every character equally. If you're meant to die, you die. If you're meant to suffer, you suffer. That's literally a world that is broken. It just turns out humans have to live in them. So yes, we didn't see much of Joe and Ellie. It's because The Last of Us isn't all about them. There are many characters that have a play in the world of The Last of Us. And it says we play as Abby for so long. But Abby's section is literally the consequences of Joe's actions. We have to play as her so that we can have empathy for her. And I know the game forces us, I mean literally forces us to do this. But the game is just trying to show that Abby as a character isn't at fault. She isn't just meant to be hated. I know you have the right to hate her, you can do whatever you want. But that is not what the game was trying to portray. I think the game was trying to portray Abby and Joe as mirror of each other. Even Joe isn't innocent, he has done horrible thing. Abby and killing Abby's father just kicks off Abby doing terrible things also. So playing as Abby for hours, the game is just trying to tell us to have empathy for her and feel for her as the same way we did for Joe. So if you remove Abby's section, I feel the game collapses. It won't feel the same anymore. It won't feel right. It won't feel as striking. It won't feel as striking anymore. That's why I feel Abby playthrough is really important.
This is hype as fuck. I'm all about it. This is awesome. Let's go. No one dies! I'm a little fucking pissed. And on top of that, I was kind of happy. Joel died. I was not happy about that, but his brother is still a badass. Tommy is good to go. They shot him in the head. I thought he was dead. Bullshit. But he ended up coming back.
Yeah, Joe died and the badass Tommy got shot. I mean, it's hurts really bad, but this is exactly what I was talking about earlier on. The Last of Us isn't favorable to anyone. Most of our favorite characters were down bad. In The Last of Us world, you're not just invisible. Things can happen to you, and we just get to see it aggressively in The Last of Us Part 2. So even though Tommy is a badass, Joe is a badass, you can't be a badass for 60 plus years. At least you have to get shots. I mean, what the fuck?
And the gameplay was cool. However, while I was playing as the fridge bitch, I cared so fucking little that I just literally tried to speedrun it because I didn't care about anything. I just wanted to get through it.
Exactly. You were literally watching the story. How the fuck are you going to understand Abby if you don't give her the chance, if you don't empathize with her, if you don't see what The Last of Us Part 2 is trying to do? I think if people is patient enough and go through with this with no bias and clear mind, I think they're going to rate in The Last of Us Part 2 more highly. If you're trying to, speedrun Abby's side of the story and, going through with this blocked mind and stuff, you're surely going to hate the game, no doubt. That is why that is why I see people actually getting The Last of Us after the second playthrough, because they know what is coming, they know the emotional bullet that's coming through them, so they are ready for it, and they play through Abby's parts less angry, and they get to understand that and even rate the game highly than the first time they played it. You don't get to rush Abby's part story and complain it doesn't make sense. You don't just get to do that. So I will advise replay The Last of Us Part 2 and go through its second playthrough, and if there's any changes at all, and I'm sure there's going to be a change. I'm just sure about it.
That I don't like the fact that there wasn't a lot of Joel. I feel like Joel was the main character of the first game. I really liked Joel. And I think that the fact that they basically killed him off at the beginning and then turned his death into a trope to move the rest of the story along, I didn't like that.
I mean, yeah, no one liked that, obviously, but Joe's death isn't just for plot, it's the point of the story. Joe did bad things and he has hurt a lot of people, and honestly, remember, he was once a hunter, he has did a lot of things, and honestly, he knows at one point his action will catch up with him. He knows that, and we just happen to see it in The Last of Us Part 2. So it's not as if they used Joe for the story. He was the point of the story. I mean, it was the point of the story, and it's like as if I'm supporting your claim, but I'm not. I mean, I don't know. And he said he doesn't like the way they kill a likable character, like the most loved character in The Last of Us. But killing a likable character is what makes it hot. That is intentional. If they killed a random NPC, nobody would really care, and the story wouldn't hit hard as it did. So what I've seen so far, most of these takes doesn't come from bad faith or the story is bad. It comes from discomfort, and yeah, people had to die. Tommy got brain damaged. Joe died. Ellie was left alone. All the likable character was really down bad, but that is what The Last of Us is trying to portray. It is a broken world, and one way or another, the characters will surely be broken. And it doesn't just happen to our loved character, it happened to Abby. Abby was also left alone with Lev at dying point. So seeing all this take, it's not as if the writing was bad, the character was bad. It's just that the way things end up with our loved characters, and we didn't like the way the story ended. It's really discomforting, but that's what The Last of Us Part 2 was trying to portray, discomfort, and everything is not all rainbow and sunshine. Things are dark in a broken world. But anyway, I don't know any of these streamers I literally covered. I'm not into streaming or anything. I just wanted to talk about their take. I'll see you next time.